Tonight on CTV News at 6. They are being forced out by flames.
Well, people are obviously concerned. Today, especially with the shift in the wind and the expected temperature and the gusts of wind.
Residents of Matagami First Nation near Timmins have a huge wildfire on their doorstep. It's heading back to council.
Decommissioning doesn't always mean demolishing.
The move to demolish the West Ferris Arena in North Bay is on hold. And despite facing punishing tariffs from the U.S.,
it's bent, and it's bent pretty sharply.
Algoma Steel and the city of Sault Ste. Marie are facing adversity head on.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. So glad you decided to join us on this Wednesday, June 3rd. Let's start with a forest fire burning out of control south of Timmins that has forced the voluntary evacuation of a nearby First Nation community. CTV's Lydia Chubak has more.
The Timmins 9 wildfire continues to threaten Matagami First Nation. Ministry of Natural Resources officials say it's grown in size to approximately 464 hectares.
It has received aerial fire suppression consistently throughout the week so far. So every day we've had water bombers, CL-415s, Twin Otters, bucketing helicopters supporting the crews on the ground. So pretty aggressive fire response. We have 9 fire ranger crews that are assigned to that fire right now.
While crews work to gain control of the blaze, Matagami First Nation issued a state of emergency and a voluntary evacuation.
Well, people are obviously concerned. Today, especially with the shift in the wind and the expected temperature and the gusts of wind, we wanted to err on the side of caution.
Matagami's fire chief says as of this morning, the fire was burning 12.3 kilometers from the community.
The wind's coming from the west, which is going to cause smoke in our community and panic for some.
To say it's hot and dry in Matagami First Nation is an understatement. The community is under an extreme forest fire hazard rating, and most people have been evacuated as of today. 2 buses left the community this morning, taking 160 people to Barrie, while others are leaving in their personal vehicles.
The province emergency operations center, so they will let us know what is available. There was certainly a few number of locations that were updated to us, but that changes on a daily basis, and we're fortunate that we're not going too far.
40 people have decided to stay. Some are first responders, others didn't want to go.
Yeah, everybody's in panic mode, and what do you call them? The reason why I'm staying behind there is, I don't know, it's just that I don't see the need to, I don't panic easy.
I think the community is doing the right thing, and keeping our community members safe is priority.
The MNR says there are 8 active fires in the Northeast region and 3 are not under control, including Timmins 9 and 1 near Larder Lake and the other near the Peawanuck Airport. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Matagami First Nation.
And Highway 144 north of the watershed has been closing intermittently this afternoon because of the fire and blowing smoke. Anyone planning to use that route should check 511 for the latest closures and available detours. Anishinaabe police seized $105,000 in illegal drugs from a home in Martin River First Nation. An ongoing investigation led police to execute a search warrant at a home on Lagoon Road yesterday. They found what they believe to be crack cocaine, crystal meth, other illegal drugs, and cash. They also seized items police say are used in drug trafficking. A 32-year-old woman from the community and a 33-year-old man from Geraldton were arrested. Timmins police say they executed the search warrant with support of the emergency response team and a drone operator at a residence on Borden Avenue yesterday. Police seized more than $17,000 in drugs, along with more than $43,000 in cash. Police arrested 2 men in their 40s and a 65-year-old man, all from Timmins on trafficking-related charges. City Council in North Bay says it's going to delay a decision on the demolition of the West Ferris Arena. The option to tear it down has long been tied to the planning of the city's new twin pad facility build. More now from CTV's Eric Tashner.
This is a West Ferris history.
After hearing a passionate plea to reconsider tearing down the 59-year-old West Ferris Community Arena,
I hear things like demolishing it, and I say, why? Well, structurally, it's not sound. How can I tell what's not sound if we can't even see the reports?
City Council has opted to delay its decision, sending the matter back to the Infrastructure and Operations Committee.
Decommissioning doesn't always mean demolishing. Demolishing has always been a conversation that it could be something that happened, but we've never had that fulsome discussion.
A staff report found the rink has reached the end of its life expectancy due to structural deterioration, aging systems, and long-term maintenance. Mayor Peter Chirico cast the lone vote against, arguing that after several years, it's time for discussions to end.
It's not the 11th hour on this. We're at 12:01. To repurpose it is going to take millions of dollars.
A study commissioned by the city determined North Bay doesn't need 6 ice pads. This debate comes as the city prepares to open its new twin pad recreation center in August.
When it came time to finding a new arena, we took 7 years. When it comes time to closing arena, we take 5 days.
Vraybosch wants to ensure West Ferris residents have a chance to voice their opinion before a final decision is made, and wonders if it's best to pass the decision on to the next council.
If the sky isn't falling, then take a sober second thought to it, take a breath, and then have a plan.
That is not something that I'm comfortable with passing the buck. Let's make the decision.
Antler says he would support additional engineering estimates if they help determine if the structure could be safely reused. But it could cost the city upwards of $600,000.
This is a women's history. This is a North Bay history.
A less intensive study would determine the feasibility of converting the building at a cost of between $100,000 to $250,000. Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
And North Bay City Council has greenlit a multi-use sports field project at the Steve Omischel Sports Complex, along with 2 new FIFA-sized soccer fields and a new cricket pitch. The decision comes after debate amongst councillors over the project's price tag, which has climbed to nearly $6.3 million. However, supporters stress the urgency to move forward or risk forfeiting close to $1.7 million in funding from the Ontario government's Community Sport and Recreation Infrastructure Fund.
It could be used by people, so a potential for more revenue. So on those grounds, I would be supporting it this evening as well too. I don't think it's a project that's over budget.
We've been given one choice. There should be more than one choice here. It shouldn't be this or nothing. That is not fair to the cricket club. The soccer people were not consulted as far as I know. I feel this is, really being pushed, and I'm not comfortable with it.
Construction of the multi-use field is slated to be completed in November. The field repairs would begin early September with a target completion date of April 2027. A new report says Sudbury's bylaw enforcement department is overworked and understaffed. The report, being presented next week to City Council, says complaints have been trending up, noting bylaw receives more than 4 times the number of complaints it got compared to a decade ago, while staffing levels have stayed the same. Other municipalities have 8 bylaw officers per 100,000 people, while Sudbury has 6 with a larger geographic area. Animal control and shelter services are eating into officers' time because of the shelter's location. Among the recommendations, the report suggests moving the shelter closer to the city, as well as adopting set fines for common infractions to reduce the time it takes to resolve some complaints. Well, let's talk about the weather out there. A lot of sunshine and above seasonal temperatures. With more on that, let's bring in CTV's Rick Wyman. Rick.
Oh yeah, everyone's just digging the weather. The toasty weather, Tony. We've got it going in the early days of June. Of course, let's not forget that summer officially kicks in June 21st. still have a ways to go. Our systems map, courtesy of Environment Canada, some precipitation moving in. Friday and Saturday, it's been pared down to maybe 30-40% for both days, but we will have a bit of a break from the heat. It'll drop down by a few degrees, then back up after the rain is settled, and once again we'll get more steamy conditions coming up in the northeast. Our current temperatures, you'll love them. They're coming up, Tony, next.
Thanks, Rick. It's doing the best it can. Still to come on CTV News at 6. We head to Sault Ste. Marie for a story on a city facing punishing tariffs by the U.S. First, though, we are heading to Algonquin Park and this live webcam from the Algonquin Park Visitor Center. This shot is courtesy of the Friends of Algonquin Park. It's 28 degrees in Whitney. We will return after this commercial break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Tariffs may have hurt Ontario steel producers, but hope is on the horizon if a deal on submarines comes through. Algoma Steel in Sault Ste. Marie could really benefit from the contract. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has more.
Along the shore of the St. Mary's River sits a northern Ontario city that's been propped up by the steel industry for more than a century. Though in recent months, the foundation of Sault Ste. Marie's economy has been forced to bend, though it hasn't broken just yet.
It's bent, and it's bent pretty sharply.
50% U.S. tariffs forced the city's largest employer, Algoma Steel, to accelerate their plans to pivot to electric steel making. In December, the company announced roughly 1,000 workers would lose their jobs, the largest layoff in Algoma's more than 125-year history.
Here in Sault Ste. Marie, the local economy is already struggling. Here on this main strip, the theater's been boarded up, same with appliance stores and laundromats, and there's a fear that the layoffs at Algoma might make matters even worse.
The huge impact will be when EI starts running out.
Michael DePratt spent 56 years at Algoma Steel. He now represents more than 1,200 workers as union president.
You believe diversifying from the U.S. is the only way forward for Algoma Steel?
We need to develop our own economy, right? We can't be vassals of the United States.
South Korean shipbuilder Hanwha has pledged to invest in Algoma and use the company's steel to manufacture new armored vehicles in Canada, if the bid is selected by Ottawa to deliver 12 new submarines for the Canadian Navy.
Frankly, we think that the bid that benefits our community is the bid that should be selected.
There are other potential bright spots in the Sault's steel industry.
We're fighting back.
A joint $300 million public-private investment across town will see Tenaris expand its steel pipe production and add to its 800-person workforce.
For Tenaris, it's all about doubling down on domestic production.
We are devoting more and more of our domestic production for Canada. So our exposure to the tariffs is going down to the extent that hopefully in a couple of months it will be going almost down to zero.
With steely determination, those who call Sault Ste. Marie home are pressing forward.
The investments here at Tenaris will create 200 new jobs and hundreds of other spin-off positions over the next 3 years. Good news for a resilient steel city. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Families east of Sudbury will soon have licensed childcare thanks to government funding and a new partnership. We get the details from CTV's Angela Gemmell.
Representatives from Our Children, Our Future point to where a playground is planned for this vacant municipal building. It's the future site of a child care center.
There is limited access at the moment, especially to English language spaces. So families might have to go at the moment to Sudbury or go maybe to the Nipissing area. The idea is to bring childcare, licensed childcare, closer to their home.
$3 million in funding from the Canada-Ontario Early Learning and Childcare Infrastructure Fund will create 51 spaces in both Marks-Day-Warren and St. Charles. This former OPP building will be renovated to create the center in Marks-Day-Warren, which will provide 16 preschool spaces, 10 toddler spaces, and 10 infant spaces.
This is the first 10 dedicated infant spaces that's actually coming to Sudbury East. So it's a very exciting time for those families in Sudbury East that are looking to get back to work.
$1.5 million of the funding will help create a childcare Care Centre in St. Charles, which will open up 15 childcare spaces.
We are putting a modular building, and we're not talking ATCO trailer style. We're talking like a nice, presentable childcare space, a space where families are going to want to bring their children. In that area, you're close to the community arena, you're close to the splash pad.
The projects are a partnership with the Manitoulin Sudbury District Services Board and each respective municipality. Having licensed childcare helps attract and retain families to the community.
Our families will be able to make themselves comfortable at home knowing that we are taking care of their children, as well as promote growth because of the highway and the proximity to North Bay and Sudbury. People have another option to take care of their families.
2 months ago, Our Children, Our Future announced 30 childcare spaces for French families for École Saint-Thomas in Warren. The new projects bring to 81 the total number of childcare spaces to be created this year in Sudbury East. The latest facility should be ready by the end of this year. Families interested in being added to the wait list should visit the Our Children, Our Futures website. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Warren.
The Sudbury Women's Centre is getting a major funding boost for a new program aimed at keeping seniors active in the community. The federal government announced $3 million today to support the new program, Whole Seniors. The Whole Seniors initiative was launched last week, bringing 5 nonprofits together to offer and train seniors as volunteers. The Sudbury Women's Centre will be providing funding support and coordination with partner organizations, which include the United Way, Parkside Centre, and Independent Living. The stage is set for contract talks to begin between the Ford government and the unions representing Ontario's education workers. The unions serving a notice to bargain today with the potential for job action as early as the fall. CTV's Siobhan Morris has the details.
A united front from Ontario's major education unions, firing the starting pistol on collective bargaining, with contracts expiring at the end of August.
This round of bargaining is about improving learning conditions for students and working conditions for those who support them every day. The stakes are high.
Talks will start in the next 15 days. Union leaders are pushing for a cap on class sizes, better pay and benefits to keep teachers in the job, the end of mandatory e-learning, and more supports in special education.
We know there are many kids that are being left behind, falling between the cracks, that are being told they can't even come to school.
The Minister of Education said yesterday he's optimistic about a deal by Labor Day.
I want the absolute best for teachers, and I want a fair deal for taxpayers, and I think we're going to get there. There'll be some tough negotiations, obviously, but they're always tough.
Calandra says that's because of how passionate educators are.
We're looking forward to that collaboration. We're looking forward to that desire to work together. Haven't seen it yet, but we'll look at that as a positive statement.
But there is a willingness to take job action if the change union leaders say their members are desperate for is slow in coming.
57,000 CUPE education workers showed the government in 2022, and we're ready for this round.
4 years ago, Ontario schools were closed for 2 days after CUPE members walked out, angry over an imposed contract, one that was repealed. The start of bargaining in budget season when boards across Ontario are declaring hundreds of staff surplus, some 800 at the Toronto District School Board.
TDSB will see a decline of enrollment of over 5,000 students. That has a major impact, obviously, on budgets.
But educators say the notices go beyond what would make sense.
This is the first time, I believe, since 2019 that the secondary school teachers in the TDSB have received bumping notices, and that's significant.
A notice that teachers may have to move to a school far from home based on evolving needs. Paul Calandra says he's frustrated of the cycle of declaring a teacher surplus in the spring only to have them hired back in the fall. He acknowledges it's really stressful for educators. Union leaders say it's a problem that's well within the minister's ability to fix. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Okay, back now for a check on your current conditions. Here's Rick.
You want nice weather, Tony? We've got nice weather. Great weather across the northeast. Check out some of these temperatures. Let's begin in Moosonee, as we always do right now. Don't be fooled by the 10 degrees. Sun and cloud right now, Moosonee weather. 29 Cochrane, 29 in Timmins, loads of sunshine there. Kapuskasing 31 as well. 27 in Chapleau, 18 in Wawa, just off the water. Sault Ste. Marie at 26, beautiful evening there. How about Parry Sound, some sun and cloud at 19. Meanwhile, in North Bay, 27, sunshine. 30 in Temiskaming Shores with the sunshine, and 28 in Kirkland Lake as well. Just a great night. 28 Greater Sudbury. Mainly sunny there. Espanola 26, Elliott Lake 26, and beautiful Gore Bay 25 on Manitoulin Island. Your 7-day forecast and our pick of the day. We've got some ducks frolicking in the water. We've got that pick coming up and a lot more, Tony, just a couple of minutes away. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Rick. After a forced labor probe, next on CTV News at 6. President Trump is adding 10% additional tariff to Canadian imports. And after surviving a life-threatening illness, a Kapuskasing woman is returning to the ICU in Sudbury, but this time as a nurse. The federal NDP has introduced legislation to ban MPs from crossing the floor without the approval of their constituents.
In a democracy, elections are the foundational opportunity for voters to express their democratic choice. So when parliamentarians cross the floor to sit with another party other than the one that they are elected for, the will of the people who elected them is altered. Mark Carney has become the first Prime Minister in Canadian history to assemble a majority government through floor crossing instead of through the ballot box. The balance of power in this House was shifted, not by voters in an election, but by political operatives in the back rooms.
The Liberals reached a majority government earlier this year following 5 floor crossings and 3 federal by-elections. The Trump administration is taking a new approach to global tariffs after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down tariffs earlier this year. The focus now is on curbing imports made with forced labor and a proposed new 10% tariff on Canada and other trading partners who allegedly failed to comply. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Hello. Just hours after the U.S.-Canada trade minister said he had a positive meeting with Jamieson Greer, Greer's office said Canada is among the countries that could be hit with a new 10% tariff for failing to take action on forced labor. The failure of our most important trading partners to address the importation of goods made with forced labor is unacceptable. This creates a dynamic where American workers are forced to compete globally on an unlevel playing field, Greer said.
This is not a surprise.
The Prime Minister pointed out the vast majority of goods fall under the Canada-U.S.-Mexico free trade deal and won't be impacted. He says Canada supports the overall objective.
We made some changes earlier this year on things that candidly were not as effective, so there's ways we can change things legislatively. We'll be proposing that to the House in the coming weeks.
LeBlanc wouldn't answer whether he and Greer discussed Canada's move to allow some Chinese EVs into the market.
We don't discuss publicly the content of private conversations or private discussions.
U.S.-Canada expert Christopher Sands says the U.S. is intentionally moving some trade irritants outside CUSMA.
The good news is that might mean the USMCA could move as far as renewal, or that the negotiations could be more constructive going forward. The bad news is this is designed to keep the U.S. with leverage, even if we renew USMCA, because we have the other issues that we could use to impose tariffs on Canada.
Now, these tariffs aren't in place just yet. Experts say important to point out there is a process. The USTR will hold hearings about them July 7th. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Washington.
In one of the most serious flare-ups since the ceasefire took hold, Iran launched missile attacks on Kuwait and Bahrain as the U.S. conducts new strikes on Iran's Qasem Island. Kuwait's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says one person was killed and several others were injured after an Iranian attack Meanwhile, Bahrain's military says its air defenses intercepted and destroyed 3 missiles and several drones today. This comes as the U.S. military conducted what it calls self-defense strikes on Iran's Qasem Island, saying the operation was a response to attempted Iranian attacks across the region. And talks between Israeli and Lebanese ambassadors have resumed in Washington after U.S. President Donald Trump secured commitments from both sides to ease tensions. The 4th round of talks between the two countries, which don't have diplomatic relations, is underway at the U.S. State Department and is expected to last 2 days. It comes after Israeli drone strikes in southern Lebanon on June 2nd killed 8 people, while Iran-backed Hezbollah continued launching drones at Israeli forces. Ukrainian drones rained down on Russia's second biggest city overnight as attacks escalate from both sides. Drones hit an oil terminal in St. Petersburg and other targets, including a naval warship. The Ukrainian offensive also turned deadly in Russia's Donetsk region. 8 people were killed when a drone struck a bus. The Kremlin says another 10 people were injured in the strike, and a Russian attack in the Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk killed at least 3 civilians. The attacks all coming as St. Petersburg gets ready to host an international economic forum. And there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Great night across the Northeast, Tony, as you're about to see with some of the conditions and our forecast radar. We've got some precipitation moving in Friday and Saturday, 30-40% chance of precipitation for a couple of days. You'll see for yourself with the numbers here momentarily, but again, that'll linger into Friday and Saturday, and again, then it starts to perk up once again. Some warmer temperatures Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. And it's looking pretty steamy for a couple of days starting off the work week next week. Overnight, Greater Sudbury, clear conditions, a few clouds in the Soo. Timmins, a few clouds, clear in Temiskaming Shores, and the same for North Bay. Meanwhile, Moosonee, chance of showers, risk of a thunderstorm as well. Kapuskasing-Hearst, a few clouds, more of the same in Wawa, Gore Bay, a few clouds, and Perry Sound, a few clouds. Now those numbers, as I promised, Sudbury, Nickel Belt, 29 and sunny skies tomorrow. Chance of showers for a couple of days at 40%. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, sunshine. We've got 26, 28, and 29, well above normal, the way it should be for this time of the year. In the Soo and Algoma, sun and cloud tomorrow, 26. Chance of showers both days at 40% Friday and Saturday. 21 and 23, then upwards to 29 Sunday, Monday 28, and 28 sun and cloud on Tuesday. How about Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, sun and cloud and 29 tomorrow. Chance of showers on Friday, more of the same. Saturday at 40 and 30%. Sunday we've got mainly sunny skies at 28, 30 on Monday, Tuesday. Dropping down just a notch, 29, sun and cloud, your normal this time of the year, 21. Temiskaming Shores and Kirkland Lake, 29 and sunny skies for tomorrow. Friday, chance of showers, 40%. More of the same on Saturday with the odd sunny break, 24, 23, your daytime highs. Sunday, 27, Monday, 28 both days, lots of sunshine. Sun and cloud on Tuesday, and 29. Wow, I love the weather at this time of the year. North Bay, West Nipissing, sunny skies tomorrow, 28. Chance of showers Friday and Saturday at 40%. 24 and 23, your daytime highs. Sunday, 26, sunshine. Monday, loads of sunny skies, 27 and 29. We've got some sun and some clouds. Should be a beautiful day. And again, well above normal. Let's not forget, first day of summer actually kicks in, but we're getting, well, some great weather now before June 21st, which coincides with Father's Day. James, if you will, let's roll that pick of the day for today. It's a great one. Maurice Labrec, mother and ducklings on Lake Nipissing. And Mo got this shot on the North Bay waterfront. Mom, ducklings frolicking in the water like they should, especially with this extreme heat. So ducklings and mom, enjoy it while you can. It'll continue. We're back with more news with Tony after the break.
It's something no pet owner wants to happen. You notice your dog or cat constantly scratching themselves and then find out they have fleas. Flea bites are annoying for pets, and all that scratching can lead to other health problems. But there are ways to keep them at bay. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
Fleas may be tiny, but they can create major problems for your pet.
Once the flea is on them, they start to chew on them, and they can actually cause what's called a hypersensitivity reaction or an allergic reaction to the saliva of the flea.
And once fleas get on your pet, it doesn't take long for them to spread throughout your home.
They'll hide in floorboards or in your carpet,
making it hard to get rid of them. So if you're dealing with fleas, Consumer Reports says it's important to act fast.
Start with your pet. Give them a bath using a mild dish soap, something like a Dawn or whatever you may have, and this will actually drown the fleas. Then you can follow up with a metal flea comb to remove any fleas that might remain in the coat.
Next, focus on your home, vacuum carpets and furniture daily, and wash pet bedding in hot water to help destroy flea eggs and larvae. And don't forget about your yard.
Fleas love humid, shady, grassy areas, so keeping your grass short and keeping the bushes trimmed will make your yard less inviting for them.
Of course, the best way to deal with fleas is to prevent them in the first place. Your veterinarian can recommend a flea and tick treatment that's appropriate for your pet's age and size, whether that's a topical treatment or oral medication. Researchers say it's best to avoid flea collars. Some contain chemicals linked to concerning health risks for pets and even people. Following these steps can help your pet stay flea-free and keep from scratching this summer. Pat Foran, CTV News.
The North Shore Health Network is advising the public of an emergency department closure at Richards Landing on St. Joseph Island. The ED at the Richards Landing site will be closed from 8 a.m. tomorrow, reopening Friday, June 5th at 8 a.m. due to a physician shortage. The Thessalon site and Sioux Area Hospital are open. For medical emergencies, call 911. People living outdoors face several health-related issues, from extreme cold to hot weather. A Sudbury charity is trying to help the vulnerable beat the heat. CTV's Alana Everson reports.
The Go Give Project says extreme heat can quickly become a health emergency for the vulnerable. Ashley St. Pierre is homeless and knows the dangers firsthand.
I'd say the heat, worried about heat stroke. 30-degree temperatures are definitely a struggle for us. It's our biggest challenge right now.
We started the Beat the Heat campaign because in the summertime we do have an increased volume of individuals that are out and about. With the increased temperatures, we do see a lot more risks for dehydration, for heat stroke, and other heat-related complications.
Farouk says throughout the summer, the team distributes supplies while conducting wellness checks across the community.
We are seeing at least 200 individuals on a nightly basis, and then we do also have encampments that we serve. Those also do expand in the summertime. People are more out in the bush.
These types of supports are crucial for us. I mean, anybody that's homeless or vulnerable could utilize any of these services, from outreach to Go Give. I mean, they're all amazing frontliners.
The Go Give Project is asking for donations of bottled water and electrolyte drinks, snacks, sunscreen, bug spray, sleeping bags and blankets, first aid supplies, and Oragel.
With first aid as well, it is summertime. There are a lot of more bugs, more mosquitoes out, so we do see a lot more open wounds. And it is essential to treat those before they progress into serious infections.
The Go Give Project says every dollar and donation helps its team meet people where they are and provide relief and essentials on the hottest days of the year. Alana Everson, CTV News, Sudbury.
Many post-secondary students are graduating this week, and a student at Laurentian University is excited to be crossing the stage after a difficult battle. More now from CTV's Madison Merrier.
Alex Kowalski has spent 4 years studying nursing at Laurentian University. However, it wasn't always smooth sailing. During her second year, she was rushed to the hospital with difficulty breathing.
I ended up spending about a week in the ICU, and then I was transferred to the surgical floor, where then I was discharged home, and I had a very long recovery in front of me.
Kowalski was diagnosed with Lemierre's syndrome that caused a clot in her internal jugular vein, which turned into a lung infection before sepsis. Coming from Kapuskasing, her family wasn't able to arrive at the hospital right away, and she says staff at HSN filled that comforting role for her during her most vulnerable time.
After my hospitalization here, on my way out while I was being discharged, a nurse asked me if I would ever come back to work in the ICU, and I said no, I would never want to come back to this place. I didn't want to see this place again. And here I was applying for an extern job in the summer, and one of my choices were the ICU.
We knew right from the get-go that Alex was going to be one to keep our eye on. There was never any question whether, we wanted her to stay. It was, whether she decided this was going to be the place she landed.
Tomorrow, Kowalski will graduate as a registered nurse before returning to the hospital's intensive care unit to start her new job.
There's nothing she's afraid to tackle. So for us, it's great to see someone transition from the student role into soon to be one of our nurses.
I think it was more so kind of closure for me. So I came in and now I'm taking care of people that were in my position at the time. So I feel like I can really empathize with them and I really know how it feels. So in a way, it does make me, or it will make me, a better and more empathetic nurse.
Kowalski says she's feeling almost back to normal, but her lung function isn't at full capacity, and she's hoping her story can raise some awareness on the rare syndrome that presents as a cold but can be something more serious. Madison Marier, CTV News, Sudbury.
Online Streaming Act still ahead on CTV News at 6. The federal government is calling for a review of the CRTC's decision on Canadian content contributions. The FIFA World Cup kicks off in about a week, and many think this is going to be a major boost to the Canadian economy. But a recent survey suggests 63% of business owners in Vancouver aren't sure soccer will bring them the big bucks. CTV's Yasmin Gandam explains.
Restaurants are stocking the bar and the fridge as the FIFA World Cup inches closer.
I have limited seating. When I'm full, I'm full. And the games are going to be on. And, we're going to have a good time.
Memphis Blues owner George Sue says he is expecting a big boost to his bottom line.
Everybody's going to have that spike during those games. But it's also how you run that room during that time, right? Having good servers on, your kitchen's efficiently run, your bar's going.
But a new report finds some business owners may not be prepared to welcome fans or keep up with demand as they grapple with rising costs and a shaky economy.
It's not because they weren't aware that FIFA was coming. In many cases, it was because of perhaps a fear that if they did make investments in their business, those wouldn't necessarily materialize.
According to about 130 business owners surveyed, 63% in BC don't expect any increase in revenue from the games.
We've been buffeted by wave after wave of challenge. First COVID, then the trade war, and now this war in the Middle East. That has raised prices.
Some businesses in Mount Pleasant may not be as lucky. The BIA says World Cup fever hasn't made its way to the neighborhood.
It's hard to get excited about something that, although it's only a couple of kilometers away, it seems that the focus is entirely on the downtown core.
However, the survey finds consumers are planning to go out and spend money.
I think nationally, people expected to spend about $50 per person going out, and that varied a little bit by generation.
Time will tell how much of an impact the World Cup will have with the first match at BC Place on June 13th. Yasmin Gandam, CTV News, Vancouver.
Ottawa is demanding the CRTC review a recent decision that could lead to Canadians paying more for streaming services. It's also become a trade irritant for the U.S. CTV's Annie Bergeron Oliver now with what the government has to say about that.
The federal government appears to be backing away from its fight to force streaming giants to pay more for Canadian content, one day after what Canada called positive trade talks in Washington.
It's no secret to anyone that's been paying any attention to this that the USTR has identified these issues as a trade issue. It would be disingenuous to suggest that this is the single issue. The reality is we're impatient to make sure that this sector stays vital and stays supported.
Last month, the CRTC announced it was tripling the amount companies like Netflix and Disney had to pay for Canadian content, increasing fees from 5% of their Canadian revenue to 15%, a move the Conservatives strongly opposed.
When we debated this in the House of Commons, the Liberals faux-pas us. They made it sound like it was no big deal, that this tax was being widely accepted. That's not true.
Days after saying they couldn't act, Ottawa is now asking the CRTC to review that decision, saying it could increase costs for consumers.
It's actually good to see the government admitting that some of their the choices that they've made in terms of the legislation, in terms of the regulations, are actually going to have downstream impacts on consumers.
But many experts say it's about more than affordability. It's about appeasing the Americans who have repeatedly called the Online Streaming Act a trade irritant.
The CRTC's move was largely seen as provocative, an annoyance, an irritant to those trade negotiations. And so essentially what the federal government is doing is removing that annoyance from the playing field.
The streaming companies' fees were supposed to help Canadian producers, but no money has ever gone out. It's all been tied up in the courts. To help that industry, the Canadian government today announced a $600 million investment. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, Scott Pelley has been fired as a correspondent with the CBS flagship investigative program 60 Minutes. The termination comes one day after a fiery staff meeting on the show's future. CBS dismissed Pelley after he openly challenged the competency of the show's new executive producer, Nick Bilton, a former tech reporter with little news experience, and the recent firing of other CBS staff. Pelley says the new chief of CBS News is intentionally trying to kill the program to please the Trump administration. An English actor is among the latest to be knighted, and a Scottish time travel tale has another season coming to the small screen. David Daniel takes us across the pond in tonight's Hollywood Report.
It feels like you're watching a documentary. It's actually quite a hard skill.
It really happened. Idris Elba is now a knight. King Charles knighted the actor, musician, and activist at a Windsor Castle ceremony Tuesday for his services to young people. Idris and his wife, Sabrina Elba, founded a charity to support diaspora communities, and he's a goodwill ambassador to the King's Trust, which works to help vulnerable young people.
I wake every morning knowing that something is missing.
Outlander fans take heart. Starz released this sneak peek of Outlander Blood of My Blood Season 2 and announced the prequel series will return September 18th.
This is your story.
Michael is coming home. The film about the iconic performer's rise to fame lands on digital and VOD June 9th and 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and other home video formats July 14th. It's made more than $850 million in worldwide ticket sales. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Home sales in Canada's largest real estate market have jumped the most in 10 months as prices drop. Let's get the details from BNN Bloomberg's Lindsay Biscaya.
In Toronto, it appears lower prices have begun to lure potential buyers off the sidelines. Home sales were up 10% in May compared to April, as the city's real estate board says the market tightened. The seasonally adjusted benchmark price of a home dropped 0.2% from the previous month to just under $928,000. And TREB expects sales to improve even more through the second half of the year. And here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 71.96. West Texas Intermediate is up to 96.02. Western Canadian Select also up to 76.72. And the TSX closed 360 points lower today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold down $59.81. Closing the day at $44.2961 U.S. an ounce. Silver down $2.58 to end the day at $72.61. Copper slipped 2 cents to $6.30, and nickel down 17 cents, ending the day at $8.50 U.S. a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Thursday weather.
Happy with the weather there, Tony? We've been getting some pretty nice weather of late, and more to come. Some warmer temperatures, 29 Greater Sudbury tomorrow, sunshine. Timmins, sun and cloud, 29, 26 in the Sioux as well, some sun and cloud. How about North Bay, 28 sunny skies. Parry Sound, 25 sun and cloud. And Temiskaming Shores, 21. Loads of sunshine in the forecast, so really no complaints about the weather. It's all happening. And of course, we got a bit of a break with some precipitation, but then again, it'll start getting steamier again at the beginning of the week, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday as well. So let's enjoy the heat, Tony.
Okay, will do. Thanks, Rick. Finally, a man in Windsor is experiencing nature in his own backyard. He built an owl house and now shares what he's learning about the mysterious birds through webcams and social media. As CTV's Travis Fortnum explains, he's having a hoot.
In a Windsor backyard, a month-old eastern screech owl works up the courage to leave the nest for the very first time. A monumental step in an owlet's life, one its sibling took earlier this same spring morning. Now it's taking in the world from a nearby branch. Their departure all caught on cameras set up throughout Chris Jacobson's backyard.
I don't think I ever saw an owl before this started, and now I kind of live in the owl house all winter and all through the spring. It's like I'm there.
Jacobson built his first backyard owl house 8 years ago after noticing the birds seemed to love the neighborhood. The cameras came a few years later.
To see exactly what they go through and how they raise their young it's pretty touching.
And now he shares regular video updates through nesting season, offering thousands of people from all over a rare, up-close look at the mysterious birds.
I try to post in the morning and people get to see that first thing in the morning, and hopefully they see it before all the crazy news that's going on in the world, and it just seems to make their day.
Jacobson says a female owl typically moves into the house in the fall, spending the winter there. Mating season begins in late February. This year, 4 owlets hatched in early May. This one's already left the nest, becoming the 16th young owl to fledge from Jacobson's backyard since he put up that first owl house. With this little guy getting ready to be the 17th, and 2 more still waiting inside.
And then by fall, we'll have another adult here, and it'll start all over again.
For Jacobson, the project has become more than a hobby. It fills his days in retirement, connects him with people across North America, and gives others a chance to start their day with a little wildlife wonder. Travis Fortnum, CTV News.
What a great story. And folks, thanks for watching CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Ian Campbell. Good night.